welcome back to another webisode. I'm Carmela Boykin, and today I'm joined by our film reporter Cade Kaminsky to discuss Shazam, DC Comics' latest superhero flick.
Thanks, Carmela. It's great to be here.
Thank you for being here. So, Cade, what's the film about?
Well, Shazam centers on Billy Batson, a 14-year-old boy in Philadelphia. He's troubled, he's in the foster care system, and he gets imbued with powers from a dying wizard that are very godlike, that allow him to transform into an adult superhero whenever he says the word Shazam. It's a very lighthearted comedic romp that focuses on him adjusting to his powers, learning what it means to belong as well as be a superhero, and fighting an evil doctor.
That sounds fantastic. So what were your favorite parts?
Well, what comes to mind for me for the best part is definitely Zachary Levi's performance as the adult Billy Batson, aka Shazam. He has such a youthful charisma that he brings to the performance, balancing heartfelt and mischievous. He brings such a comedic edge to the character and is definitely down for all of the antics that go on in this film. His performance is actually not unlike Tom Hanks in Big. He really embodies what it means to be a 14-year-old boy in an adult body with superpowers.
So that sounds like a great film. There are a lot of parts you liked. Was there anything you didn't like?
Well, there was one part that I really didn't like, and that was unfortunately the villain, Dr. Thaddeus Savannah, played by Mark Strong. Now, I like Mark Strong. I think he's a fantastic actor with great range, and as shown before, he can play interesting villains. However, it wasn't his performance that was the problem. It was essentially how they did the character. He was originally shown to be a character that's been beaten down his whole life, similar to Billy Batson, with nothing good whatsoever, all sorts of trials and tribulations. But when he receives powers that are sort of the opposite of Shazam's, he becomes this unsympathetic, one-note villain who's just obsessed with getting more power with no direction or motivation. And Mark Strong, I think, falls into sort of playing how they wrote him, which ultimately kind of hinders what could have been a great villain performance.
So how does this film compare to the other DC movies?
Well, DCEU had a rough start, but film critics and audiences seem to love this movie. It is the second highest ranking film on Rotten Tomatoes at around 90%. It was marketed as a lighthearted movie that was not going to take itself too seriously, wasn't going to be dark or edgy, and I think that critics and audiences went in expecting that, and the film delivered on all notes.
And did this translate to box office figures?
Ironically, not so much. This actually had the lowest opening of any of the movies inside the DC Extended Cinematic Universe at around 156 million, which may seem like a lot, but when you take into consideration films like Batman v Superman and Aquaman that went up to 800 million or even broke the $1 billion barrier, this is kind of a low opening. But given that critics and audiences love this movie and have a really fun time with it, I see no problem with them bouncing back up to financial stability.
All right, thank you so much, Cade, our film reporter. And that's all the time we have this week. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV. I'm Carmela Boykin, and have a great day, Syracuse.